William Carter adjusted his tie as he stared out the viewport of Nexus Station. The stars looked different here, at the edge of human space, but he found comfort in their steady glow. 30 years in government service had taught him to find peace in small moments like this. He needed that peace today. The Galactic Confederation meeting chamber waited just 3 decks below. Representatives from 27 species would gather there in less than an hour, and Carter knew most of them were scared. The Xeraxian Empire had expanded aggressively in the past 5 years, swallowing 3 independent systems and pushing hard against Confederation borders. Carter's reflection looked back at him from the viewport glass. At 53, his face showed the weathering of a difficult life. Gray streaked his dark hair, and faint scars marked his hands, remnants from a time before he wore tailored suits and carried diplomatic credentials. His calm blue eyes betrayed nothing of his thoughts. "Ambassador, the Trilaxian representative wishes to speak with you before the session," said Lisa, his assistant. She stood in the doorway, tablet in hand, her expression professional. Carter nodded. "Send her in." Ambassador Nexil entered, her 4 upper limbs moving in the formal greeting pattern of her species. The Trilaxians had been among the first to welcome humans into the Confederation, and Carter considered Nexil one of the few true allies humanity had at the table. "Ambassador Carter, I bring troubling news," she said, her translator converting the clicks and whistles of her native speech. "My sources report unusual movement in the Xeraxian fleet. 3 battle groups have changed position in the past 12 hours. Carter gestured to a chair. "Please sit." "What do you make of this movement?" Nexil settled her insectoid form carefully. "It could be nothing. It could be preparation for something terrible. The Xeraxians view the peace talks as weakness. Most predatory species do," Carter replied. He touched the silver cufflink on his left sleeve, a nervous habit he'd developed over the years. The small piece of metal looked decorative, but it housed the EGIS, the AI system linked directly to his neural implant. The implant itself was invisible, a technological marvel that connected Carter to one of humanity's most closely guarded secrets. "What will you propose today?" Nexil asked. "The same thing I always propose: dialogue, respect for borders, trade agreements that benefit everyone." Carter smiled slightly. "The boring work of peace." Nexil's compound eyes reflected the starlight. "The Xeraxians call humans soft creatures in their private communications. They believe your species lacks the will for conflict." Carter's smile didn't change, but something cold flickered behind his eyes. A common misconception about humans. We don't lack the will for conflict. We've simply seen enough of it to know its cost. Before his diplomatic career, Carter had served in Earth's Special Operations Command. His official record listed his role as security consultant, but the full truth was classified at the highest levels. When Earth joined the Confederation, they sent their best diplomats to represent humanity. But they also prepared for the worst by ensuring those diplomats could protect themselves. "I should prepare for the session," Carter said, standing. "Thank you for the information, Ambassador Nexil. I value our friendship." The Trilaxian performed the gesture of mutual respect. "Be careful, William. Something feels wrong today." After Nexil left, Carter activated his cufflink with a subtle touch. "AEGIS status report." A calm voice answered directly in his mind. "All systems operational, Ambassador. Your suit's defensive capabilities are at full capacity. I detect elevated stress hormones in your system." "Just pre-meeting jitters," Carter replied subvocally, the implant picking up the nerve signals rather than actual sound. "Run a security scan of the meeting chamber again." Scan complete. No anomalies detected. However, I should note that 3 Xeraxian diplomatic staff members have requested private meetings with you after the main session. Carter frowned. That's unusual. They normally avoid one-on-one contact. Agreed. Historical analysis suggests a 78% probability of significant deviation from standard diplomatic protocol. Carter checked his watch. We'll proceed as planned, but stay alert. If they want to talk privately, that might be progress. He left his quarters and walked through the curved corridors of Nexus Station. The massive diplomatic hub floated at a carefully selected point where multiple transit lanes converged, making it equally inconvenient for all member species to reach. The human delegation had quarters in the Earth Wing, alongside representatives from 17 human colonies. Security officers from various species nodded respectfully as he passed. Carter had earned a reputation for fairness and calm reasoning during crisis situations. What most didn't know was how much that calm had cost him over the years. The main chamber doors loomed ahead, ornately decorated with symbols from all Confederation member worlds. Carter paused, straightening his jacket. The dark suit was custom-made on Earth, appearing completely normal while concealing layers of advanced defensive technology. Like Carter himself, it represented humanity's dual approach to galactic relations. Sincere diplomacy, backed by careful preparation for conflict. Inside, the chamber formed a perfect circle with tiered seating. Carter took his place at the human delegations table, exchanging polite greetings with nearby representatives. Across the room, the Xeraxian delegation entered as a group. They moved with the fluid grace of evolved predators, their scaled skin gleaming under the lights. Ambassador Kriv Tak led them, his prominent head crest marking him as a high-born member of their ruling class. His yellow eyes fixed on Carter immediately, and he offered the barest nod of acknowledgement. Ambassador. Carter, Kriv Tak said as he passed the human section. I look forward to our discussion today. As do I, Ambassador, Carter replied evenly. There's much we can accomplish together. The Confederation mediator, a tall Voxion with silver skin, called the session to order. For the next 3 hours, representatives outlined concerns, made proposals, and engaged in the careful dance of multi-species diplomacy. Carter spoke twice, each time offering practical solutions that would allow the Xeraxians to save face while halting their expansion out throughout the session. Carter noticed something odd about the Xeraxian delegates. They seemed distracted, exchanging glances when certain topics arose. When border security came up, Kriv Tak's aide whispered something that made the ambassador's crest briefly flush with color, a sign of strong emotion in their species. AGIS. Are you noting the Xeraxian responses? Carter subvocalized. Yes, Ambassador. Analysis suggests they are operating with information not available to this gathering. Probability of hidden agenda, 89%. As the session concluded, Kriv Tak approached Carter directly. Ambassador, I believe we could make more progress in a private setting. Would you join me in discussion chamber 3 in 1 hour? Carter nodded. Of course. Should I bring my policy advisors? That won't be necessary, Kriv Tak said smoothly. Just the two of us, speaking honestly, leader to leader. As the Xeraxian walked away, Carter felt a familiar tension in his shoulders, the same feeling he'd had before operations went wrong in his previous career. AEGIS, run background on discussion chamber 3. Small meeting room, capacity 8 persons. Located in the diplomatic wing, section 12. Limited surveillance due to privacy protocols for sensitive negotiations. Carter returned to his quarters to review his notes. Lisa brought him a light meal, which he barely touched. You're worried about the private meeting, she observed. Carter nodded. The Xeraxians never request private meetings. Their cultural protocol demands witnesses for all official discussions. Should I alert security? No, Carter said. But stay near the communication station. If I don't check in every 30 minutes, contact Admiral West immediately. As Carter prepared to leave, his secure communication channel activated. Admiral Samantha Weist's face appeared on the screen. William, we've intercepted communications suggesting a possible threat to the diplomatic mission. The intelligence is fragmented, but there are references to removing human influence from the negotiations. Carter wasn't surprised. Timing? Unknown, but security teams are on heightened alert. I can have a squad at your location in 20 minutes. No, Carter said firmly. If we show distrust now, it could derail everything. I have a private meeting with Krivtok shortly. That might clarify their intentions. West frowned. Be careful, William. The suit's defensive capabilities are impressive, but not invincible. I'm always careful, Sam. Carter smiled. That's why I'm still alive. After ending the call, Carter touched his cufflink again. AEGIS. Activate full defensive protocols. Silent mode. Defensive systems active. Ambassador, I must advise caution. This meeting exhibits multiple warning indicators. Carter straightened his tie one last time. Sometimes the most dangerous path is the only one worth taking. He left his quarters and walked towards Section 12, outwardly calm and composed. Inside, every sense was alert, every muscle ready. If the Xeraxians wanted to talk peace, he was prepared to listen. If they had something else in mind, they would learn an important lesson about humans. Humans didn't become the dominant species on Earth by being soft. They did it by being adaptable, resourceful, and when necessary, ruthlessly effective. Carter hoped for peace, but he was ready for war. Carter stepped into discussion chamber 3 and immediately assessed the situation. The small room held a central table with 8 chairs, but only Ambassador Krivtok sat there. 2 other Xeraxians stood near the far wall. They wore what appeared to be diplomatic attire, but Carter noticed the slight bulge of weapons beneath their formal garments. Ambassador Carter, Krivtok said, gesturing to a chair. Please join me. Carter smiled politely and took the offered seat. His mind catalogued possible escape routes, weapon placements, and the positions of all 3 Xeraxians. AEG Ice ran silent. Calculations, feeding tactical information directly to his neural implant, without visible displays that might alert his hosts. I appreciate this opportunity for private discussion, Carter said. Sometimes progress requires stepping away from the formal setting. Krivtok's head crest rippled slightly, a sign of amusement or anticipation in Xeraxian body language. Indeed, formal settings have so many ... restrictions. Carter noticed a 4th Xeraxian quietly enter behind him. The door sealed with a soft hiss. The room's surveillance lights dimmed from green to red, indicating recording systems had been disabled. AEGIs record everything, Carter had vocalized. Recording active, the AI confirmed in his mind. 4 hostiles present. Weapons detected. Defensive systems ready. Krivtok leaned forward. Let us speak plainly, Ambassador. Your presence at these negotiations has become problematic for the Empire. I'm merely representing Earth's interests, Carter replied calmly. The Confederation benefits from stability. Stability, Krivtok repeated the word with distaste. A concept invented by weak species to restrain the strong. The natural order of the galaxy is conquest and rule by the most powerful. Carter kept his expression neutral. History suggests otherwise. Cooperation has proven more sustainable than conquest. The Xeraxian ambassador's yellow eyes narrowed. Human history spans what? A few thousand years? The Empire has existed for 20 millennia. We've watched civilizations rise and fall while barely noting their existence. Then perhaps you've missed important lessons along the way, Carter said. Krivtok laughed, a harsh sound that revealed rows of sharp teeth. The lesson we've learned is that obstacles must be removed. You, Ambassador Carter, have become an obstacle. The 3 other Zeraxians moved closer, forming a loose circle around the table. Their posture shifted from diplomatic poise to combat readiness. Is this an official position of the Empire? Carter asked, still perfectly calm. Or a personal initiative? Does it matter? Krivtok stood slowly. The result will be the same. Your unfortunate death during a station malfunction will delay negotiations while Earth selects a new representative. By then, certain territorial adjustments will be complete. Carter sighed. It matters for what comes after. I'd like to know who to hold accountable. There will be no after for you. Krivtok nodded to his companions. The Empire thanks you for your service, Ambassador. The Zeraxian behind Carter moved first, drawing a thin blade designed to bypass standard security scanners. The weapon sliced through the air where Carter's neck had been a half-second earlier, but Carter was no longer sitting. In one fluid motion, he had pushed away from the table and stood. AEGI's combat mode, he subvocalized. The AI responded instantly. Carter's perception shifted as his neural implant accelerated his cognitive processing. The world seemed to slow around him. His suit hardened imperceptibly at strategic points, maintaining its appearance while providing armor-grade protection. I should mention, Carter said conversationally, that diplomacy is only one of my skills. The Zeraxian with the blade lunged again. Carter sidestepped with precision, caught the attacker's wrist, and applied targeted pressure to the nerve cluster. AEGI's highlighted in his vision. The blade clattered to the floor as the Zeraxian's arm went numb. The other 2 guards drew their weapons, slim energy pistols that emitted a high-pitched whine as they charged. Carter moved before they could fire, using the first attacker as a shield. The Zeraxian took a full energy blast to the chest from his own companion. He collapsed, his scales smoking. Zeraxian physiology data updated. AEGI's noted clinically in Carter's mind. Adjusting combat parameters. Krivtok backed away, his head crest now fully extended in alarm. What is this? You're a diplomat. I'm a human diplomat, Carter corrected. Advancing on the second guard, we tend to be multi-skilled. The remaining guards fired in unison. Carter's suit absorbed one blast while he dodged the other. He felt heat along his left side, but no pain. His suit's systems were blocking nerve signals while repairing the damage. Carter closed the distance to the second guard in 3 quick steps. The Zeraxian tried to back away, but Carter's enhanced. Reflexes gave him the advantage. A precise strike to the throat silenced the guard's alarm call, and a follow-up blow to the temple knocked him unconscious. The third guard dropped his weapon and pulled out a ceremonial dagger, a symbol of his house and considerably more dangerous than the small blade from earlier. He moved with the natural grace of his predatory species, slashing in patterns designed to confuse and trap an opponent. Zeraxian Noble House combat style identified. AEGI's informed Carter, suggesting counter patterns. Carter matched the guards. Movements, avoiding the blade by millimeters each time. The Zeraxian grew frustrated, his attacks becoming more aggressive and less controlled. When he overextended on a thrust, Carter stepped inside his reach, grasped the arm holding the dagger, and applied carefully calculated force. The sound of breaking bone echoed in the small room. The guard fell to his knees, clutching his shattered arm. Carter retrieved the dagger and turned to Krivtok, who now pressed himself against the far wall. This is impossible, the ambassador hissed. Humans are diplomats and traders, not warriors. Carter straightened his tie, which had become slightly askew during the brief combat. A common misconception. Humans spent most of our history fighting each other before we unified. When we reached the stars, we didn't forget those skills. We just hoped we wouldn't need them. He approached Krivtok slowly. Now, let's continue our private discussion. Who authorized this attack? Was it Emperor Voxalar himself? Or one of your military commanders? Krivtok's eyes darted to his fallen guards. One dead, two disabled, in less than a minute, against an unarmed human diplomat. The order came directly from the Imperial Palace, he admitted, his voice shaking. The Emperor believes humans are too influential in the Confederation. Your removal would create an opportunity for us to advance our interests. Carter nodded. Thank you for your honesty. He touched his cufflink. AEGIS, send the recording to Admiral West with highest priority encryption. Include my location and status. Transmission complete, the AI confirmed. Security teams have been alerted to your situation. Estimated arrival, 3 minutes. Krivtok's head crest flattened against his skull, a sign of extreme fear and fear. His species. What happens now, Ambassador? Will you kill me too? No, Carter said. I'm still a diplomat. You'll be detained and questioned by Confederation security. The recording will be presented to the Security Council as evidence of the Empire's true intentions. He turned away from the Xeraxian ambassador and straightened his suit jacket. As he did, Krivtok lunged forward, a hidden weapon gleaming in his hand. Carter sensed the movement behind him through AGI's enhanced awareness. He turned and sidestepped in one smooth motion. Krivtok's momentum carried him forward as Carter grasped the ambassador's arm and redirected the attack. The Xeraxian's own blade slid between his scales, finding vital organs beneath. Krivtok gasped, his yellow eyes wide with shock. How? As I said, Carter told him quietly, we hoped we wouldn't need our old skills. Your Emperor made a critical error in judgment today. The Xeraxian ambassador collapsed to the floor. Carter checked for life signs, but the self-inflicted wound had been fatal. He sighed and subvocalized to AEGIS. Update Admiral West. Ambassador Krivtok attempted suicide rather than face questioning. The door to the chamber slid open as Confederation security forces arrived, weapons ready. They stared at the scene. In shock, 3 Xeraxian guards down, and Ambassador Krivtok dead on the floor. Ambassador Carter, the security team leader said, Are you injured? Carter shook his head. I'm fine. Please secure the room and the survivors for questioning. News of the attack spread quickly through Nexus Station. By the time Carter reached the human diplomatic quarters, Admiral West was waiting for him, her face grim. We've received word from the Xeraxian Empire, she said without preamble. They're claiming Krivtok acted without authorization and are disavowing his actions. Carter removed his jacket, revealing a scorched patch on his shirt with the energy. Weapon had grazed him. Do you believe them? Not for a second, West replied. The Emperor himself ordered this. Our intelligence confirms it. Carter nodded. Then we need to respond accordingly. The Confederation Security Council is meeting in 1 hour. They're expecting you to appear. West studied him carefully. What will you tell them? The truth, Carter said simply. That the Xeraxian Empire attempted to assassinate Earth's representative to avoid peaceful resolution of our differences, and that such actions have consequences. Admiral West's expression hardened. Protocol Omega? Carter touched his silver cufflink. The Confederation Security Council chamber fell silent as William Carter entered. His dark suit was immaculate, showing no signs of the combat that had occurred just hours earlier. Representatives from 27 species watched him with expressions ranging from shock to admiration to fear. Carter took his place at the human delegation's table. Admiral West sat beside him, her military uniform a stark contrast to his diplomatic attire. The council leader, a tall Voxian named Selith, spoke first. "Ambassador Carter, we are relieved to see you unharmed. The attack on your person represents a grave breach of Confederation law." Carter nodded. "Thank you, Council Leader. I appreciate the Council's concern." "We have reviewed the recording of the incident," Selith continued. "It raises significant questions about human capabilities." A murmur passed through the chamber. Many representatives had viewed the footage of Carter single-handedly defeating 3 Xeraxian guards and witnessing the death of Ambassador Krivtok. "Humans have always been transparent about our commitment to peace," Carter said. "We have been less forthcoming about our ability to defend ourselves. That was a calculated decision to make others comfortable with our presence." The Drolaxian representative, a gelatinous being who communicated through color patterns, flashed bright orange. "You moved with speed and precision impossible for an untrained diplomat. Your species has deceived this council." Admiral West leaned forward. "With respect, Representative, Earth has never claimed our diplomats are untrained in self-defense. The deception came from those who assumed our preference for peaceful resolution indicated weakness." Carter touched his silver cufflink briefly. The Xeraxian Empire believed they could eliminate Earth's voice in these proceedings without consequences. They were mistaken. "What consequences do you propose?" asked the Trolaxian representative Nexil. "The Empire claims Krivtok acted without authorization." "A convenient claim," Carter replied. "But our intelligence confirms the order came directly from Emperor Voxaler. The assassination attempt was part of a larger strategy to destabilize the Confederation." He gestured, and the central display activated, showing Xeraxian fleet movements near 3 different Confederation worlds. "These deployments began before the attack on me," Carter explained. "The Empire planned to use the confusion following my death to launch simultaneous strikes against multiple targets." The chamber erupted in alarmed conversations. Selith called for order. "This evidence is disturbing," the council leader said. "What does Earth propose as a response?" Carter stood. "Earth has activated Protocol Omega. I will be temporarily leaving my diplomatic post to investigate the full extent of the Xeraxian threat and secure evidence of their intentions against all Confederation members." "You personally?" The Drolaxian representative flashed with disbelief. "One human against an empire?" Admiral West smiled thinly. "Sometimes one is all you need." As the council continued their debate, Carter left the chamber. Admiral West followed him into the corridor. "The Nightingale is ready," she said quietly. "Captain Allen awaits your arrival." Carter nodded. "Have the intelligence team forward all data on Xeraxian military installations, particularly those near the border outpost on Krell Station. That's where I'll begin." "William," West said, her voice softening slightly, "this mission protocol Omega was created as a theoretical last resort. No one expected to actually implement it." Carter looked at her steadily. "Someone had to be first. Better me than someone with less experience." "You mean someone with more to lose?" West replied. "Your personal file lists no family, no permanent residence. It's almost as if you were designed for this mission." "Perhaps I was," Carter said. "Or perhaps this is simply what I've been preparing for my entire career." He touched his cufflink again. "AEGIS, status report." "All systems optimal," the AI responded in his mind. "Neural implant functioning at 98.7% efficiency. Combat data from the recent engagement has been integrated into tactical analysis." West watched him carefully. "The implant is working well?" "Perfectly," Carter confirmed. "I'll check in according to the established protocol. If I miss 2 consecutive check-ins—" "I know the procedure," West interrupted. "Just don't make me implement it." Carter smiled slightly. "I'll do my best." 12 hours later, Carter stood on the bridge of the USS Nightingale, a sleek stealth vessel designed for covert operations. Its official designation was diplomatic courier, but its true capabilities were known only to Earth's highest military command. Captain Frank Allen, a veteran of Earth's space fleet, greeted Carter with a firm handshake. "Ambassador, welcome aboard. Your reputation precedes you." "Just Carter will do, Captain," he replied. "I'm not functioning as an ambassador during this mission." Allen nodded. "Of course. We're on course for the Krell border station. ETA is 17 hours at current speed." Carter studied the tactical display, showing their position relative to known Xeraxian patrols. "The Emperor will be scrambling to cover his tracks. We need to move quickly." "My crew is ready," Allen assured him. Many of them served in special operations before joining this assignment. They understand the stakes. "Good. I'll need a secure communications channel and access to your weapons locker." Allen raised an eyebrow. "You're not planning to take on the entire Xeraxian military alone, are you?" Carter's expression remained neutral. "No, Captain. Just the parts responsible for the attack and the planned invasion." While the Nightingale traveled through hyperspace, Carter prepared. He exchanged his damaged suit for a new one, identical in appearance, but updated with the latest defensive technology. This suit included enhanced energy dispersion for better protection against Xeraxian weapons. In the ship's training room, he practiced combat routines against holographic opponents programmed with Xeraxian fighting styles. Aegis provided real-time analysis, suggesting refinements to his technique. "Your response time is improved by 7.3% since our last training session," the AI noted. "Not enough," Carter replied, breathing heavily. "Increased difficulty by 15%. The holographic Xeraxians moved faster, their attacks more coordinated." Carter pushed himself to match their speed, letting Aegis guide his movements until his muscles burned with exhaustion. When they arrived at Krell Station, Carter reviewed the final intelligence briefing. The station served as a key command center for Xeraxian border operations. If evidence of the planned attacks existed, it would be in their secure data center. "The station has approximately 200 personnel," Carter told Captain Allen. "Most are military, with a small administrative staff." Allen frowned. "And you intend to infiltrate alone?" "Even with your abilities, those odds seem prohibitive." Carter smiled slightly. "I don't plan to fight 200 Xeraxians, Captain. I just need to access their central command module without being detected." "And if you are detected, then I'll adapt." Carter checked his equipment one last time. Besides his suit, he carried only a small device that would allow AEGIS to interface with Xeraxian computer systems. The Nightingale approached Krell Station under stealth protocols, its advanced systems rendering it invisible to standard sensors. They positioned themselves behind a small moon, using its mass to further mask their presence. Carter boarded a single-person shuttle designed for covert insertions. The craft was barely larger than a coffin, with minimal life support and propulsion systems. "Maintain position unless you receive my emergency signal," he instructed Allen. "If I'm not back in 12 hours, return to Nexus Station and inform Admiral West." Allen nodded grimly. "Good hunting, Carter." The shuttle launched silently, its black surface absorbing rather than reflecting light. Carter lay motionless as the craft followed its programmed course, approaching Krell Station from beneath its sensor grid. AGIS, scan for patrol patterns. He subvocalized. "Scanning," the AI replied. "Detecting standard rotation of security vessels. Calculating optimal approach vector." The shuttle adjusted course, slipping between patrol routes. It approached the station's maintenance dock, a less monitored area where supply vessels delivered essential materials. Security breach detected. AGIS suddenly warned. Pattern suggests random sensor sweep rather than targeted detection. Carter remained calm. Options? Recommend immediate power down and cold drift. Probability of detection, 32%. Do it. The shuttle went dark, its minimal momentum carrying it forward, as though it were nothing more than space debris. Through the small viewport, Carter watched a Xeraxian patrol vessel pass less than 100 meters away. Its searchlights swept the area but failed to identify the black shuttle against the darkness of space. When the patrol moved on, the shuttle powered up again and completed its approach. It attached to an external maintenance hatch using magnetic clamps. Carter exited the shuttle, his suit automatically sealing against the vacuum of space. He placed a small device against the hatch controls, and AEGIs interfaced with the stations. Systems. Accessing maintenance protocols, the AI reported. Hatch opening registered as routine inspection. The hatch slid open, and Carter entered the station. He moved through narrow maintenance tunnels, avoiding the main corridors where Xeraxian personnel would be present. Central Command Module is 3 levels up. AEGIs guided him. Security personnel present in connecting corridors. Carter nodded. Plot alternative route. News of the security breach at Krell Station spread rapidly through Xeraxian military channels. Within hours of Carter's escape, emergency meetings were called in the Imperial Palace on the Xeraxian homeworld. Emperor Voxaler gathered his top. Military advisors in a room, so secure that even the air was screened for listening devices. How did one human infiltrate our most secure border station? The Emperor demanded. His head crest flared with anger, the deep crimson color reflecting. His rage. General Drakmer, the oldest and most respected of the Xeraxian military leaders, stepped forward. The intruder used advanced stealth technology we couldn't detect. Security footage shows only brief glimpses before systems were compromised. Show me, Voxaler ordered. The central display activated, showing grainy images of a human figure moving through maintenance corridors. The face was never clearly visible, but the dark suit was unmistakable. Ambassador Carter, the Emperor hissed. He should be dead. Instead, he infiltrated Krell Station, accessed our secure data, and left, without a single casualty. Drakmer noted. This is ... unprecedented. Another general, Vextar, scoffed. One lucky infiltration does not make him a threat to the Empire. We have millions of soldiers across 17 systems. Drakmer's eyes narrowed. And yet this one human has already compromised our invasion plans. The data he stole contains details of our fleet positions and planned strike points. Then we accelerate the timeline, Vextar suggested. Launch the attacks immediately, before the Confederation can prepare defenses. Emperor. Voxaler paced the room, his claws clicking against the polished stone floor. No, the human will have already transmitted the data to Confederation authorities. They'll be expecting our moves. What do you suggest, Emperor? Drakmer asked. Find him. Eliminate him. Then we can adjust our strategy. Voxaler turned to his security chief. Put our best hunter teams on this. I want Carter's head before the next cycle ends. As the Xeraxian leadership plotted his death, Carter stood in the briefing room of the USS Nightingale, reviewing data with Captain Allen. The information we retrieved is even more valuable than expected, Carter said. The Xeraxians have infiltration. Teams on 3 Confederation worlds, preparing for the invasion. Allen studied the tactical display. These aren't just military targets. They're going after civilian infrastructure too. Power grids, water systems. They don't want to just defeat the Confederation, Carter explained. They want to break it. Make reconstruction so difficult that resistance becomes impossible. The captain shook his head. This goes beyond territorial ambition. It's extinction-level planning. Which is why our next target is crucial. Carter highlighted a location on the display. Dravix Prime. It's a forward command base where General Vextar is coordinating the infiltration teams. If we can capture him and his command codes, we can identify every Xeraxian agent in Confederation space. Alan frowned. Dravix Prime has a garrison of over 1,000 troops. Even for you, those odds are impossible. Carter smiled slightly. I don't plan to fight them all, Captain. Just get me within range of the command center. AEGIs, and I will handle the rest. We'll need a distraction, Alan said, already thinking like the special operations veteran he was. Something to draw attention away from your insertion point. I was thinking the same thing. Carter pointed to a location several kilometers from the main base. Their primary sensor array, if it were to experience technical difficulties, they would direct significant resources to repair it. Alan nodded slowly. We could arrange that, but extraction will be complicated. Once you have Vextar, the entire base will lock down. I won't need extraction, Carter said calmly. I'll use their own transport. The General's personal shuttle has clearance to leave at any time. The plan set, the Nightingale departed for Dravix Prime, traveling through hyperspace routes that avoided Xeraxian patrols. They arrived 18 hours later, taking position in an asteroid field that provided natural cover from sensors. Carter prepared for the mission with methodical precision. He cleaned his custom sidearm, a weapon he hadn't needed at Krell Station, but might require this time. The pistol fired projectiles designed by Earth's most advanced weapons labs, virtually undetectable by standard security scans. AEGIS, run final systems check, he vocalized. All systems optimal, the AI responded. Suit integrity at 100%. Neural response time at peak efficiency. Mission probability assessment. 74% chance of success? Only 74%? Carter asked. The variable factor is General Vextar's location within the base. If he deviates from his usual schedule, complications may arise. Carter nodded. We'll adapt as necessary. He boarded a different shuttle this time, slightly larger and equipped with more comprehensive stealth systems. The craft would deliver him to the surface of Dravix Prime, landing in the dense forest 5 kilometers from the base perimeter. Captain Allen saw him off. We'll hit the sensor array exactly 30 minutes after you reach the surface. Good hunting, Carter. The journey to the surface was uneventful. The shuttle's stealth systems functioned perfectly, and Carter landed undetected in a small clearing. The dense vegetation of Dravix Prime would provide good cover for his approach to the base. AEGI's environmental analysis, he vocalized as he exited the shuttle. Atmosphere compatible with human physiology. Local wildlife primarily non-predatory. Temperature 27 degrees Celsius. Humidity 84%. Carter moved through the forest with practiced ease. His suit adjusted its coloration to match the surroundings, making him nearly invisible in the dappled light filtering through the canopy. He covered the 5 kilometers quickly, reaching the base perimeter in just under 20 minutes. The Xeraxian military installation was impressive, a sprawling complex surrounded by energy barriers and sensor nets. Guard towers dotted the perimeter, each equipped with long-range scanners and weapon systems. Identify weaknesses in the security grid, Carter instructed AEGIs. Analyzing, the AI replied. Primary weakness detected at the southern maintenance entrance. Guard rotation creates a 7.3-second window every 15 minutes. Carter checked the time. The distraction should begin soon. Be ready to move when it does. Exactly on schedule, a series of explosions rocked the northern section of the base. The sensor array erupted in flames and smoke, alarms blaring across the complex. Guards rushed toward the disturbance, and security systems focused on identifying the source of the attack. "Now," Carter said, sprinting toward the southern entrance. Reached the maintenance door during the brief security gap Aegis had identified. The AI interfaced with the control panel, and the door slid open just enough for Carter to slip inside. He found himself in a utility corridor used for waste management. The smell was unpleasant, but the location was perfect. Few security cameras, and minimal personnel. "General Vexstar as location?" Carter asked. "Central Command Building," Aegis responded. "Third level, East Wing. Current security, 4 personal guards plus standard monitoring systems." Carter moved through the base with careful precision. He avoided main corridors, using maintenance tunnels and service elevators to reach the Central Command Building. Twice he had to hide as security teams rushed past, responding to the ongoing crisis at the sensor array. When he reached the third level, he encountered his first real obstacle, a security checkpoint with 2 armed guards. Identification required. "Beyond this point," one guard stated, raising his weapon as Carter approached. Carter didn't hesitate. He moved forward with enhanced speed, striking both guards simultaneously with precisely calculated force. They collapsed without raising an alarm. "Vexstar's exact position?" He sub-vocalized, dragging the unconscious guards into a storage closet. "Command room at the end of the corridor," Aegis replied. "He is currently reviewing emergency protocols." With his staff, 4 additional personnel present. Carter considered his options. A direct approach would be risky, but might work if he moved quickly enough. He checked his weapon, then approached the command room door. "Override security lock," he instructed Aegis. The door slid open, and Carter entered in one fluid motion. The 5 Xeraxians inside looked up in shock as a human in a dark suit appeared in their secure command center. General Vexstar recovered first, reaching for his sidearm. "Intruder!" "Security breach." Carter fired twice with surgical precision. Stun projectiles hit 2 of Vexstar's staff, dropping them instantly. The 3rd staff member lunged at Carter, but met a precisely aimed strike that rendered him unconscious. The 4th staff officer managed to activate an alarm before Carter could reach him. Sirens wailed throughout the base as Carter turned to. Face General Vexstar. The Xeraxian general stood his ground, weapon aimed at Carter's chest. "Ambassador Carter, you're either very brave or very foolish to come here alone." "Neither," Carter replied calmly. "Just efficient." Vexstar fired, but Carter was already moving. The energy blast hit the wall behind him as Carter closed the distance between them. The general attempted to fight hand-to-hand, his natural Xeraxian, strength and speed making him a formidable opponent. But Carter, enhanced by Aegis and years of specialized training, was better. He blocked Vexstar's strikes and countered with precisely targeted blows. Within moments, the general was on his knees, disarmed and defeated. "Impossible," Vexstar gasped. "You're just a diplomat." A common misconception. Emperor Voxaler stared at the empty throne beside his own. General Vexstar should have been there, reporting on the status of their invasion plans. Instead, the general was missing, his base compromised and critical data stolen. The same human. Diplomat who should have died days ago had somehow infiltrated one of their most secure facilities and escaped with a high-ranking prisoner. "This is beyond unacceptable," the Emperor hissed to his remaining advisors. His head crest flared deep crimson with rage. "One human has made fools of our entire military." General Drachmer, now the senior military advisor present, stepped forward. "Emperor, we must consider our position carefully. The Confederation now has proof of our plans and has increased security at all the targets we identified." "Then we find new targets," Voxaler snapped. "It's not that simple," Drachmer replied. "Our agents in Confederation space are being arrested. based on the data Carter stole. Our entire intelligence network is compromised. The Emperor rose from his throne, pacing the ornate chamber. Where is Carter now? Do we at least know that? Our last intelligence places him on a direct course to Helverin 4, our primary fleet staging area. Vox Aller stopped pacing. He's attacking our main fleet base? Alone? It appears so, Drakmer confirmed. Admiral Kravzar has been alerted and has prepared appropriate countermeasures. The Emperor's eyes narrowed. This human is no ordinary diplomat. What do we really know about him? Drakmer activated a datapad. Our intelligence on Carter is limited. He served in Earth's military before becoming a diplomat, but most of his record is classified. What we do know is that he appears to have some form of neural enhancement and wears a suit with advanced defensive capabilities. So he's augmented, the Emperor said thoughtfully. A soldier disguised as a diplomat. I believe it's more complex than that, Drakmer replied. Humans have a concept they call measured response. They send diplomats first, genuinely seeking peaceful resolution. But they ensure those diplomats can defend themselves if negotiations fail. One diplomat cannot stand against an empire, Vox Aller insisted. Drakmer's expression was grave. This one already has Emperor, and I fear he is merely the beginning. While the Emperor contemplated the threat, Carter piloted the stolen Xeraxian shuttle through hyperspace. General Vexstar sat restrained in the co-pilot's seat, watching Carter with a mixture of hatred and curiosity. You cannot possibly believe you'll succeed at Helverin 4, the general said. Admiral Kravzar commands our main battle fleet. Over 200 warships and a planetary defense grid that can destroy anything that approaches. Carter adjusted the shuttle's course slightly. I'm counting on it. Vextar studied the human carefully. What are you? No diplomat fights as you do. Earth learned long ago that there's little difference between war and diplomacy, Carter replied. Both require strategy, patience, and the will to see things through to their conclusion. Your conclusion will be death. Carter smiled slightly. Perhaps, but not before I complete my mission. The general's head crest flattened against his skull, a sign of confusion. You knew this was a suicide mission from the beginning? I prefer to think of it as a calculated risk, Carter said. AEGIS, status report on the tracking beacon. Signal is active and stable, the AI responded in his mind. Confederation forces are tracking our position. Estimated time to intercept. 4 hours, 17 minutes. Extar hadn't heard the AI's response, but he noted the brief silence as Carter listened to something. You have communication implants, the general realized. You're not alone. No one is ever truly alone, General. Carter replied cryptically. The shuttle dropped out of hyperspace near Helverin 4. The planet loomed large in the viewscreen, surrounded by the impressive might of the Xeraxian main battle fleet. Hundreds of warships formed concentric defensive rings around the planet, while massive orbital platforms housed the defense grid that Vextar had mentioned. Impressive, Carter noted. It is the mightiest fleet ever assembled, Vextar said with pride. Your mission ends here, human. Carter activated the communication system. This is General Vextar's shuttle requesting emergency landing clearance. Priority code Alpha Zenith 7. The response was immediate. Shuttle identified. Proceed to Landing Bay 12, Central Command. Carter guided the shuttle toward the largest orbital platform, the fleet headquarters where Admiral Kravzar coordinated the Xeraxian military. As they approached, Vextar smiled coldly. They know you're coming. Kravzar is not a fool. I'm counting on that too, Carter replied. The shuttle docked at the designated bay. Through the viewport, Carter could see dozens of armed soldiers waiting. They had indeed expected him. What now, Diplomat? Vextar asked mockingly. Will you fight the entire Xeraxian fleet? Carter touched his silver cufflink. AEGIs, transmit. All gathered intelligence to the Confederation fleet. Authorization. Omega Protocol, final phase. Transmission complete, the AI confirmed. Confederation forces acknowledge receipt and are proceeding according to plan. Carter turned to Vexstar. To answer your question, General, no, I won't fight your entire fleet. I'll let my friends handle that part. Before Vexstar could respond, space around Helverin 4 erupted with activity. Dozens of hyperspace windows opened simultaneously as the Confederation's combined fleet dropped into normal space. Ships from 27 species moved in perfect coordination, taking strategic positions around the Zeraxian fleet. Admiral Kravziar's voice came over the communication system, addressing all Zeraxian forces. Unidentified fleet, you have entered Imperial space. Withdraw immediately or be destroyed. The response came from Admiral West aboard the Earth flagship Defender. This is Admiral Samantha, west of the Confederation Defense Force. We have evidence of your planned attacks against Confederation worlds. Surrender your forces or face the consequences. On the command platform, Admiral Kravsar stared in disbelief at the tactical display. The Confederation fleet had positioned itself in a formation that neutralized the Zeraxian defensive advantages. Somehow, they knew exactly where to strike. The human gave them our tactical data, Kravsar realized. All ships, battle positions. As the fleets prepared to engage, Carter acted. He subdued the guards who entered the shuttle to capture him, moving with the enhanced speed and precision that had become his trademark. With Vexstar secured, he exited the shuttle and made his way through the station, avoiding main corridors and using maintenance tunnels just as he had on previous missions. His destination was the command center where Admiral Kravziar was coordinating the Zeraxian response. If he could capture the Admiral and access the fleet command codes, he could end this confrontation without massive casualties on either side. Outside the command center, Carter encountered heavy resistance. Elite Zeraxian guards protected the approach, their weapons charged and ready. AEGIS, Tactical Analysis, Carter vocalized. 12 guards, heavily armed. Conventional approach inadvisable. Carter nodded. Alternative entry point? Environmental control conduit above the command center. Access point 20 meters to your right. Carter found the maintenance hatch AEGIS had identified and climbed into the narrow conduit. He crawled through the tight space until he was directly above the command center. Through a ventilation grate, he could see Admiral Kravziar shouting orders as the tactical display showed the fleets engaging. The human is still on this station, Kravziar was saying. Find him immediately. He must not reach the command center. Carter smiled slightly. Then he removed the grate and dropped into the room. The Zeraxian officers reacted with shock as Carter landed in their midst. Guards rushed forward, but Carter moved with purpose, neutralizing threats with precise strikes. Within moments only. Admiral Kravsar remained standing, backing away from the human in the perfect suit who had appeared from nowhere. Ambassador Carter, Kravsar said, drawing his ceremonial blade. You've caused quite enough trouble for the Empire. I'm just getting started, Carter replied. The Admiral attacked with skill and fury, his blade slicing through the air where Carter had been a moment before. But Carter, guided by AEGIS and years of training, anticipated each move. He avoided. The blade encountered with strikes that gradually wore down his opponent. Finally, Kravziar overextended on a thrust. Carter seized the opportunity, grasping the Admiral's arm and applying precise pressure. The blade clattered to the floor, and Kravziar found himself forced to his knees. Impossible, the Admiral gasped. Carter accessed the command console, AGIs interfacing with the Zeraxian systems. This is Carter to Admiral West. I have control of the Xeraxian Command Center. Fleet command codes are being transmitted now. Outside the station, the battle had begun in earnest. Xeraxian ships fired on Confederation vessels, which returned fire with precision. But as Carter transmitted the command codes, something remarkable happened. The Confederation forces used the codes to send shutdown signals to the Xeraxian weapon systems. Ship after ship found its weapons disabled, unable to continue the fight. In the Imperial Palace, Emperor Voxaller received the news with growing horror. His mighty fleet, rendered impotent by one human diplomat who had somehow obtained their most secret command codes. "Emperor," General Drakmer said gravely, "the Confederation is demanding your surrender."